Better? All right. Well, like I said, thank everybody for coming tonight. This is something that we have really been, can y'all hear me okay? But I'm going to do like the mayor did then. I'm going to talk loud. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it personally that everybody showed up, and this is something that we really put a lot of time and effort in this year, was to make this event really special for the employees of the city. And so first and foremost, thank you to Miss Renee and Miss Lori and the ladies that had their hands on making this happen for us tonight. As most of you know, this is not only is it the Citronelle Employee Safety Supper, but it's also the Officer of the Year banquet for the police department. I asked the mayor if he would allow me to have about 20 minutes tonight to do my presentation in the midst of the peers and employees here, and so that's why we're here tonight and doing that, and I appreciate the support from all the employees and the mayor and the council allowing me to do that. First and foremost, this is my 11th month in office. I took over January the 24th. I didn't really know what to expect when I got here. I knew there was a lot of growth, potential growth for the police department, and I had a lot of ambition and I had a lot of vision. And so I'm one of those guys, I want to do that all within 24 hours. I don't like, to plan ahead or to say, well, this is my 1-year plan or this is my 2-year plan. I have a 24-hour plan, and so sometimes that's not feasible. But believe it or not, I have been allowed to do a lot of things in 11 months, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the confidence that the city has had in me, the mayor and council have had in me. And so if you look around tonight, you see some of those improvements. You see some of those things that have been my ambition, that have been my vision and my goal to do. So first and foremost, you see these guys wearing a brand new uniform. You've heard me, you've heard me say all year long about us redeveloping ourselves as the Citronelle Police Department, changing the face of the police department, and that's part of this. These guys have worked really hard, and we've got some new guys. We've got some guys that were here when I came on board, and we've got such a special team here now after 11 months that I couldn't be more proud of the guys that we have on staff and girls that we have on staff tonight. But this uniform, thank you very much. This uniform that you see, this is a direct reflection of 2019 Citronelle Police Department, okay? We had a shoulder patch on the old uniform that was old and outdated, and there was not one thing on that shoulder patch that represented the Citronelle Police Department. There was a bird with something in his mouth, and that was it. That wasn't us. That's not us. That's not who we are. And so that shoulder patch that you see on that sleeve right there represents everything who we are. We are the police in Citronelle. That's our city seal on it. It's got an American flag on it, and it's got an Alabama flag on it. That represents everything who we are right there in Citronelle, and we're proud of it. It's got an oil well on it. It's got a golf course on it. The city seal encompasses who we are here in Citronelle. So we're wearing that brand new shoulder patch with pride, okay? That old eagle or buzzard or whatever that was with the thing hanging out of his mouth, it's gone. It's no longer us, all right? We left that in the past. So we're going to develop this uniform. We're going to order all new collar brass and things. So you'll see a few things changing in the future, but we're very proud of this uniform. This is our dress uniform. We're going to get another headgear that goes with this uniform, and so we're gonna continue on, keep pushing forward, and continue getting better. So that's my few minutes on the uniform. This year we have accomplished a lot of different things. One of them was doing an Officer of the Month, recognizing an Officer of the Month and a Dispatcher of the Month, and giving somebody something to work for and something to be proud of. These guys go out every shift, put themselves in harm's way to do the right thing in Citronelle, and my way of giving back to them is to recognize these guys for the hard work that they do. And a lot of times, it's just a thank you from me. Everything's so fast-paced around the police department, and there are times that I pass and repass and sometimes speak and don't speak, but there's one day every month that I focus on these guys and to tell them how much I appreciate them, okay? This police department, make this clear tonight, is not Tyler Norris. None of what we've done in 11 months could be done by myself. I assure you that. It has nothing to do with me. I'm leading this department, but I can only lead who will follow me, okay? These guys follow, these girls follow, and they have my interest and my loyalty, and as well as that, I have theirs. So this police department is not me at all. I take a lot of compliments from people about how good a job I'm doing. They don't have a clue. I'm not doing this. These guys are right here. So that's the reason that I want to give back to them, and I want to recognize them, and I'm going to do that in just a few minutes with some awards. Let me say another thing about Ashley Rowell, who is my assistant. Ashley's not here tonight. Unfortunately, she had a little minor procedure done this morning, and she's not able to be here tonight. And I've been heartbroken about that particular situation because Ashley is so very special to me in more ways than I could stand here and talk all night about. But I do want to say that when I took office here, I told the mayor and council both that I needed one thing that would help me be successful, and that was an employee that I could hire as a secretary or an assistant that would help me manage the day-to-day operations, the paperwork, the filing, and the things that go on in the police department. And they allowed me to do that. So I'll speak a little more about that as time goes on, but I wanted to put that in there. Ashley has been a huge part of the success. Ashley thinks like I do, believe it or not. I don't know how that ever happened because I've never met another person in the world that thinks like me. There are a few Marines that think kind of like me, but nobody thinks exactly like me. But Ashley Rowell, believe it or not, does. She knows what I'm thinking before I think it. So I'll stop with Ashley on that point, and I'll pick back up in a few minutes when I get to that. But I did want to acknowledge her for that at the moment. Ashley wrote my notes for me, and she specifically put on there to emphasize how important the mayor and the council have been. There's not been one time that I've gone to the mayor or called the mayor or the council members and asked for anything that they've said, no, Tyler, we don't think y'all need that, or now's not the time or anything. The mayor said if Miss Lori said the money fits and works, y'all do it. So that I've said that every month for the last 10 months. I think that I am so pleased and impressed and blown away by the cooperation from the mayor and council. And Citronelle is unstoppable with the council and mayor and team that we've got working together as we speak. All right, so now I'll get started right quick on our awards. The first award that I'm going to do is our November Officer of the Month award. It just so happened that this be the appropriate time to do that award tonight, since we're not having an Officer of the Month banquet. We're having an Officer of the Year banquet, which is tonight, so we're going to recognize the November Officer of the Month award. Adam Emmons, would you step up here, please? Congratulations, Adam. All right. Would you, all right, you can have a seat. Adam, I'm going to talk about you for just a minute. I hired Adam back in April, I believe. He's been here with me about 6, maybe 7, 8 months. Adam is a military man. Adam is a wonderful police-minded police officer. He is a black and white kind of guy when it comes to breaking the law. He's stone-faced all the time. You never get any kind of laugh or chuckle or fun out of him when he's in uniform. That's just the way he is. And I get that because I've seen many men like that. I respect Adam when he is in uniform because of that. He don't play in uniform. He don't goof off. He don't play. He is 100% business. So I've talked to him a little bit about loosening up and enjoying life and kind of talking to some of the community, and so I'm force feeding him some personality as we speak, and he's taking it pretty well. He's taking it pretty well. He's only spit up on me a couple of times. So look, I said all that to be funny, but truthfully, Adam is a good police officer. He knows how to work. He makes good cases. He makes a lot of felony cases. He knows what to look for. So he is a big asset for us. He's trying hard to fit in here with Citronelle. So everybody, he's not that jolly guy like Chris Hadaway that's going to run up to you and hug on you and kiss on you. He's just a little standoffish. So give him an opportunity. If you see him out, reach out, shake his hand, pat him on the back, and help warm him up. He's trying real hard to fit in. So I wanted to throw him a bone and tell him what a good. I've been on him a little bit lately about that. So I wanted to throw him a bone and tell him how appreciative I am for him working hard. And Adam, thank you for what you do. All right, the next awards here I've got are 2 Chiefs Awards. Let me go ahead and say my heart grows 3 times the size it should be this time of year. I may get a little bit emotional tonight. I'm a little bit like the Grinch. His heart is big this time of year, and mine does the same thing. So tonight I'm going to read a little citation here for 2 of my guys. I hope I can make it through this. On November the 15th, 2019, officers were dispatched to S&S Apartments, Apartment 21, in reference to an infant child unresponsive. Officers arrived on scene and both officers sprung into action. Officer Thomas went into apartment 21 and found the unresponsive child and began to perform CPR on the infant child. Officer Harris began to console the mother and grandmother so Officer Thomas could give his attention to the infant child. A crowd was gathering because of the chaos in the area, and both officers performed with unwavering professionalism. Assisting officers eventually showed up on the scene to lend assistance and console the parents and loved ones of the infant child. It is with great respect that I acknowledge Officer James Thomas and Officer Dylan Harris for going above and beyond the call of duty by performing CPR without hesitation or concern for himself. Officer Harris was by far outnumbered, but handled the crowd control without hesitation or care or concern for himself. It is in keeping with the highest standards and traditions of this profession and this police department that on this, the 10th day of December in the year of our Lord, 2019, it is my pleasure to present each officer with the Chiefs Award for outstanding commitment to the citizens of Citronelle, Alabama. Officer Thomas has been sick today, so unfortunately he was not able to be here with us, but he's heart broke over not being able to be here. I just spoke with him on the phone just about 5 minutes ago, and he's very upset and very sick, so we'll say a special prayer for him at the close of business tonight. But thank you, Dylan, for what you've done. It does not go unnoticed, I assure you. Thank you. All right, the next award. Let me talk just a few minutes about this award. When I got to the police department, we had a reserve program, but the reserve program was pretty much on reserve. There was nobody really doing anything. There was nobody showing up, nobody working, there was a couple of guys that got involved. Greg Lofton has been a really big asset to the reserve program, and there are various others that have got on board and helped us big time since then. But I implemented a 24-hour a month mandatory ride-along for those reserve officers. And what that does is it gives them a little incentive to really go learn and be a good police officer and get involved in what we do, rather than just have a uniform that hangs in their closet or a ID card that they carry around in their wallet. So those 24 hours are mandatory each month. If they go 2 months non-compliant, they're removed from the reserve program. So back in about June, I asked Mr. Charlie Dickens if he would be my reserve coordinator. Mr. Charlie's got 40 plus years of law enforcement experience, and not only that, he's got a great personality and knows how to deal with the public. So he was a great fit to do that. And so Mr. Charlie has stepped up to do that for me. Back here a couple of months ago, the mayor and council was kind enough to increase my reserve program from 10 officers to 15 officers. And so that's been a big help for us. We've got 13, as we speak, of the best reserve officers that I've ever been around in the state of Alabama. And so this next award that I present is going to be the Reserve Officer of the Year. When I got here to Citronelle, we had a lawnmower and a trailer and a truck stolen from out here at the campground very shortly after I got here. So we all responded out here, came out here, got busy looking for it, and Don Lee and I were out here looking around, and we started noticing cameras on houses and places here and there. And so I pulled up in the yard just across the road over here one evening and got out of my car, and Steve Gardner walked around the corner. He was working in the flower bed there, and he had a Glock pistol on his hip when he walked around the corner. And I kind of bobbed my head, and I said, that's my kind of guy right there. He's weeding the flower bed with a Glock on his hip. And so at that moment, me and Steve hit it off. I knew, hey, he's a good guy. He's my kind of dude. So we talked a few minutes, and he and Miss Sequin were standing there in the yard, and I gave Steve my card and told him if he ever needed me to give me a call. He gave me his card, and within a few days we were best friends, and he's been on my reserve program ever since. Steve, would you come up here, please? Citronelle Police Department 2019 Reserve Officer of the Year, Steve Gardner. Steve is a professional in every light of that word. Steve works at AM&S out there where the mayor works. And Steve, if Steve tells you the sky's falling, you better look for a helmet, because he ain't lying to you. That man has all the character and loyalty and trust that he could ever have from me. And he does me the same way. When he says something, you can believe every word of it. If he tells you he's going to be at work tonight, then you can bet he's going to be at work tonight. He's not going to let you down. He and I see things a lot the same. We were laughing earlier tonight. He said, Chief, am I early? I said, no, if you're 30 minutes early, you're late in my book. And so he said, I ain't never going to be late. I'm going to always be early. And I respect that, because I was raised, and the Marine Corps did the same thing to me. But Steve is what you want helping our full-time guys on the street. He is a man's man. He's going to do the right thing, and he's going to stand for what's right. So once again, will you give him a hand, please? All right. The next person here, the night I was swore in, January the 24th, 2019, Mayor swore me in, and he asked me, he said, Tyler, you want to walk downstairs and walk through the police department? I said, yes, sir, let's do that. So we go down the back stairwell, through the dispatch office, and the first person sitting there was Sierra Little. When I got down there, I introduced myself to her. She had the big same smile on her face that she's got sitting right there. She was as nice and cordial to me as she ever could have been. She made me feel welcome. There was no weird any kind of vibe between she and I, and it's been that way ever since. Sierra has stood in the gap for me with this dispatch situation. She always will stand in the gap and say, Chief, what can I do? How can I help? If somebody needs to be off, she'll fill the gap. She'll find somebody to fill the gap. And so her experience and her training, she's one of our trainers. She's currently training Miss Sequin Gardner, and she's been training Nicole Walker, who is on duty at the police department tonight. So I could go on and on, Sierra. She's involved in everything we do, all of our community relations things, all our backpack giveaways, Citro Santa, the parade situation. She's in the background doing everything that she does. So without further ado, will you come up, Sierra? Citronelle Police Department 2019 Dispatcher of the Year, Sierra Little. Sierra has been promoted to Dispatch 2 over the last couple of months. I think that took place, 60 days ago maybe, Sierra? And Sierra she was not one of those that hounded me about it. She told me, Chief, I assumed that would come when the time was right. And she was exactly right. In the past, the dispatch supervisor had been taken off the console and put in an office back there somewhere where they just had a job that only they knew what it was. And so Sierra and I both agreed, and we talked about there was no reason for that. Sierra is a lot like me in the fact that she wants to lead from the front. She wants her dispatchers to see that she is doing her job. She works a shift, answers the phones, dispatches calls just like the rest of the dispatchers do, and that is how you gain loyalty and trust from your employees, to let them see you do it. And that's what I do. That's how I'm out there with these guys. I love it. I put on my vest and my boots and my gun belt, and I go do search warrants with them and traffic stops and this and that. They know I'm normal. I'm not the guy to sit in my office back with my feet kicked up on the desk. So Sierra, thank you for leading from the front. Always lead from the front, and I appreciate what you do. Thank you. My next guy was there the night I got sworn in. I didn't get an opportunity to hire him. Had I been given that opportunity, I would have hired him. This is a position that there is nobody thanks you for doing this job. This is a job that you really don't want. Being in CID, it's a prestigious job, but it's a paperwork job. It's one of those jobs that for about 10 minutes you say, well, I was promoted to detective, and then after that 10 minutes wears off, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? So after I was sworn in, I talked to Don Lee about going to CID, and he said he was interested. He said he wanted to. He had some experience in CID with Mobile, and that he would take that on. We needed somebody full-time to get in there and help me sort through what had happened prior to me getting there. The criminal cases had been put on the side burner for quite some time before I took office, and so I wanted somebody that would attack that right quick and get busy with that. So Don Lee took that on, and he's done a fantastic job with that. There again, like I said, that is a job where sometimes you have to close yourself up in your office. You have to make phone calls. You have to interview witnesses. You have to deal with victims, and you have to deal with people that are disgruntled. You can't always tell them what they want to hear. And so Don gets fussed at by them. He gets to a point where he's ready to throw his hands up and walk away because he can't tell them what they want to hear, but he continues to push forward. So Don, would you come up here, please, sir? Citronelle Police Department 2019 Detective of the Year, Don Lee. Yes, sir. So in the last couple of months, we found our niche in CID. We we have a wonderful relationship, which I am proud to announce tonight, with the District Attorney's Office. Ashley Rich and I have been friends for a long time. We have a great relationship. Ashley is now seeing some things from the Citronelle Police Department that she, by her own admission, says she hadn't seen in years. So we're taking these cases that are taking place in Citronelle, and we're putting the case files together, and we're taking them to Mobile, and we're getting the warrants, and we're prosecuting them. And so that's what it takes to be a successful police department, especially with the crimes that have to be investigated. Now, the patrol officer is the first line. When you have an issue, you call 911, the patrol officer is coming out there to take care of that issue for you. The second line is the thankless job that Don and Jason Hadaway do, and that's where you have to put together a case file, come up with suspects, and be able to prosecute that in court. Make a good case, make a case that's going to stick, make sure you got the right suspects so you don't have somebody going to prison or jail that shouldn't be going to jail. So there's a lot of time and effort into that. These guys work endless hours. They get called out all time of the night. So Jason Hadaway, I added him to CID a couple of months ago. He was a great hire, had a lot of experience, and so he's been a great asset to Donald. I told y'all at the last meeting we had that I saw a little light bulb come on in Don's eyes whenever I hired Jason and put him in there, because it lessened the workload on Donald. Now they both can breathe. Donald had it all by himself for quite some time, and so I knew it was wearing him out, and adding Jason to CID has been a great thing. So thank you guys for what y'all do. All right, this next guy, where do we start? All right, so back in about 1997, me and this next guy were in the Marine Corps together. But not in 1997, me and Brent McGuffey were both in the United States Marine Corps. And that chrome skull Brent's got is real thick right there. He's real hard-headed, and he was even more hard-headed when he was a young Marine. Brent stayed in trouble all the time. I think he was promoted to the same rank 3 times. And that's hard to do now, okay? If you get promoted to the same rank 3 times, you screwed it up twice. All right, so that ain't easy to do. So anyway, Brent and I were in the Marine Corps together. We got out and we went separate ways. Brent started working construction work, and I was in law enforcement in Tuscaloosa. I moved back home in about 2010, and I went in the dollar store in Grove Hill one day, and I saw Brent. He was in there, and he said, "Tyler?" I said, "Brent?" We got to talking. It had been 12, 13, maybe 14 years since we'd seen each other. And so Brent was on hard times. He had a rough situation going on at home, and so I told Brent, I said, "Look, come see me." I was chief of staff at the Clark County Jail at the time, and I told Brent, I said, "Look, if you need something to do," he was having to work on the road, had a family at home, kids were kind of running wild, so he was needing to be at home and handle things at home. And so I told Brent to come see me, and I hired Brent at the jail. Brent was a wonderful corrections officer at the jail. If you told Brent to do something, he did it right exactly like you told him to do, and you never have to worry about it. And so I sent Brent to the police academy in Clark County, gave him all my gear and my equipment, lights, guns, belts, everything I had, and told him to go to the academy and make me proud. Brent went to the academy and made me proud. I didn't have a clue that Brent McGuffey, he left the sheriff's office, went to Pine Hill Police Department, and then ended up in Creola. I had no idea, January the 24th of this year, that Brent worked for Citronelle Police Department, believe it or not. I didn't know that. I had no clue. About 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, Brent calls me on my cell phone. I hadn't heard from him in maybe 6, 8, maybe 9 months. And he said, "Tyler?" I said, "Yeah, Brent, what's going on?" He said, "I heard you're going to be the police chief in Citronelle." I said, "Where'd you hear that at?" I said, that's not been confirmed. I've not been offered the job. He said, "Well, I heard it at the Wildcatter." So I said, "Well, hey, if you heard it at the Wildcatter, it must be true." So anyway, I said, Brent, are you working in Citronelle? Yeah, I'm in Citronelle. I said, well, that may work out. I said, I'm waiting on confirmation from the mayor and council, and if I get that confirmation, I may just be your chief. And so anyway, the rest is history. This year, Brent has been pulled and tugged in every direction, and one reason I did that was because I knew I could depend on Brent. If I needed somebody to climb a light pole, I sent Brent up the light pole. If I needed somebody to make copies, I made Brent make copies. If I needed somebody to go to CID, I sent Brent to CID. Anything I needed somebody to do, Brent would always do it. He would raise his hand, hey chief, I'll do that. And so Brent has really stood in the gap. We had a short schedule, 8 guys, including myself when I got hired on here. And so there was a lot of guys that had to stand in the gap to make things happen, for us to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. And so whenever we got the dog truck back midsummer, early summer, I was sitting down talking to the guys that we were getting a truck, we were getting a kennel, and we were going to have to start doing our own dog work. And so Brent, he raises his hand. I said, yeah, Brent, what's going on? He said, Chief, I want to do that. I want to be the guy to get trained for the dog work. And so he's just that kind of guy. It don't matter what it is, he'll raise his hand and he'll get involved in anything. I sent him to CID to work with Donald where we were in a rough spot with CID. Donald was overloaded and he had so much going on. And so I talked to Brent and I said, look, Brent, I know you don't know anything about CID, but I want you to go over there with Donald and help him out and just do whatever Donald tells you to do. Take the load off of him. Donald's eyes was bugging out at the time. He couldn't stand it no more. So Brent did exactly that. He went over there and said, Don, tell me what you need. Whatever you need me to do. I'll go interview people. I'll go run people down, whatever you want me to do. So the Officer of the Year 2019 is Brent McGuffey. There you go. Thank you, buddy. Look, obviously I could go on all night about my employees. I could not be more happy about where we are right now. We've been through a rough patch this year. We had a couple of officers that made some bad decisions, and I took total responsibility for that. I wore 2 black eyes for a couple of months, and I hope they're finally clearing up. But I owned that. I hired both of them, and I owned that black eye. But everybody right now is in a position. Ashley said to me yesterday, she said, Tyler, I think we've really done it. She said, I think we have finally got everybody right where they need to be. Everybody fits their niche. Everybody is where their personality is comfortable. We've got everybody headed in the right direction. And so I could not be more happy about where we are and where we're going. We're about to close out 2019, and I'm looking forward to 2020. I have spent one of the best years of my 40-year life right here in Citronelle over the last year. I have thoroughly enjoyed being here. I love this community. I love these people. I love these employees, and I hope to be here for a long time. This year has really been fun to me. We've accomplished a lot, but we've accomplished a lot because of each other. It's a team effort. And so I hope to continue to progress the police department forward. My last award I want to talk about for just a second, and then I'll move on. When I came to Citronelle, I spoke earlier about needing somebody that was loyal to me, that would be a good person to watch out for me, a secretary, an assistant that knew the community, that knew the people, that knew the last names that I don't recognize. One of the blessings about coming to Citronelle was that I came here to police. Okay, it didn't matter what the last name was, what color they were, or anything about them. I came here to do the right thing and to treat everybody the same and to police this town. So that was a blessing to me. However, I do need somebody that's loyal to me, that can talk to me and tell me these last names and who they are and who their family is and what's going on with this family. So I had a friend of mine that I went to school with by the name of Jessica Odom. And Jessica, I was going to hire Jessica to be my secretary. And she worked at the bank in Jackson, and that job was going to play out midsummer, and I was going to hire Jessica here. And I was excited about that. I was upbeat about that because I trusted Jessica, and I knew Jessica, and I knew she would lead me in the right direction. So Jessica called me one day, and she said, Tyler, I hate to tell you this, but she said the bank in Jackson has offered me branch manager. And she said, I'm not going to be able to take the job working for you. So I told her, I said, look, Jessica, I understand the job that I had wasn't paying near what she was going to be paid as branch manager, so I understood. And I was bummed out, bad bummed out over that. And so one Friday morning, I remember getting out of the bed. I turned and sat on the side of the bed, and I just started praying. I said, Lord, if you would, lead the right person to me. Bring me the right person that you want to be my secretary and my assistant, and I'll trust you. I'd interviewed about 5 or 6 people. I knew it wasn't the right people, and so I was getting frustrated and bummed out over and upset about it, and I just didn't know where I was going to find that right person. So that was on a Friday morning. I got on in the shower, got dressed, went to work, and sometime around lunch, Lori and I called up together, and I sat down in her office, and I said, Miss Lori, I said, I'm looking for a secretary. I need somebody that I can trust, somebody that'll take care of me, somebody that'll tell me when I got an ugly tie on, somebody that'll tell me when my hair looks funny. I need a Lori downstairs that works for me. And so she said, well, Tyler, I'll tell you what. She said, I'll keep my ear on the ground. I'll see what I can do, and we'll find somebody. She said, don't be upset about it. It'll all work out. That was a Friday. She went home. I went home. Over the weekend, she calls me excited Monday. It was the Monday before Fat Tuesday back in February. She said, I have found the perfect person. Can you interview her tomorrow? I said, absolutely, I can interview her tomorrow. Who is it? And so she tells me, she said, it's Miss Dinah's daughter-in-law that works upstairs in the city hall. And she said she works at the DA's office and she works for Ashley Rich. I said, oh yeah, if she can work for Ashley Rich, she can definitely work for me. Because Ashley is tough now. I said, she don't take no junk. So anyway, I told Miss Lori to tell Miss Dinah to call Ashley and set that up. So that Tuesday, Ashley and I interviewed, talked, met, and honestly, it was like we had been friends our whole life. It was like we were separated in some Sunday school class 20 years ago, and it was like we knew each other. And so it went from that moment. I said, you're hired. When can you start? She said, well, I need to put in a 2-week notice. And I said, I want you to do that. And she said, now look, don't hire me just because my mother-in-law works upstairs. I said, I don't care where your mother-in-law works. You're hired. Come to work quick. Get here quick. So anyway, the rest has just been unbelievable to me. I could go on all night about Ashley, what Ashley does. Ashley, it ain't just for me though. Ashley takes care of every employee at that police department. Look at those heads shaking, those guys and girls that work there. Ashley takes care of everybody there. Anything they need. If they're hungry, she goes to get them food. If their uniform don't fit, she shows them where to go get it fixed. If something ain't right, she knows how to fix it. She understands me and this police department better than anything I've ever known. I would not be who I am, and we would not be who we are without Ashley Rowell. So she is not big on the spotlight tonight. She's not big on it at all. But I was going to put her in the spotlight tonight, and I think she elected to have surgery instead of be here, so she wouldn't get put in the spotlight. But she's in the spotlight anyway, whether she's here or not tonight. So I'm going to recognize her as Citronelle Police Department Support Personnel of the Year. And so I've got a couple of things here for her. Here's her plaque I'm going to send home with her in-laws. Make sure she gets it tonight. It says Citronelle Police Department Support Personnel Employee of the Year, 2019, Ashley Rowell. So, Ashley, like I said, Ashley thrive on the spotlight or being even acknowledged or talked about, but she deserves everything I could ever say about her. I tell her often, weekly, daily, how important she is to me and to everybody here. So once again, Mayor, Council, thank y'all all for having the confidence in me to allow me to hire that person. Ashley, she's not only an employee of the police department, she's an employee of the city. She will do anything in any department, anywhere that anybody asks her to do. She don't care what her job description is. She don't care what her job title is. If somebody needs something done, she's on top of it. She's that person. So I could never replace her, and she literally was sent to me by God. I believe that. I know He found the right fit for me. She understands me. She knows I'm a Marine, and she knows I'm hard-headed, and she knows how to handle me. And we joke often about that. I told her when I interviewed her, look, if I have on a wrong color tie or whatever, you better tell me. That's what you're there for. And she will. She will tell me, hey, you ain't hitting on much today. You might better go change that. And so she don't pull no punches for me. But that's what I love about her, and that's what I appreciate about her. So Ashley, once again, thank you. All right, Ashley specifically told me, reminded me to put on here to thank Miss Lori. Miss Lori is a huge part of the police department. We don't spend a dime, we don't buy a pencil, we don't do a thing without Miss Lori telling us that we can. And Lori just took off running as I said that. But I want to personally thank Lori. I deal with Lori on a daily basis, every single day. She gives us permission to do what we do. She pushes us to do the right thing, and she gives us opportunities to go and do. So I want to thank her. She stepped out. She probably don't want to be thanked, but anyway, thank you, Miss Lori, for what you do. Thank all these ladies that work upstairs, Felicia, Amy, Miss Dinah, Miss Tanya, all these ladies that for what they do. They keep the police department running. We can't do what we do without those ladies that work upstairs. So once again, Mayor, City Council, thank all of y'all for standing behind us this year and giving us the opportunity to do what we said we were going to do, and that's change the Citronelle Police Department. So once again, Mayor, I turn it over to you. Thank y'all very much.